Good day, dental professionals. Welcome to the Dental Flow podcast. We are dentistry's go-to resource for insights into the business side of dentistry. Your host, Benjamin Suggs, will be helping you navigate through the currents of the ever-changing dental waters. This podcast is packed with innovative practice growth strategies, actionable insights, and expert advice, all tailored to help you elevate your dental practice to the next level. If you're ready to dive in, so are we. Let's get into the flow.
What's up, dental superstars? Welcome back to the Dental Flow podcast. Today, we're going to talk about why your traffic from Google is tanking on your website. So needless to say, Google's been going through quite a few changes recently. And one of the biggest changes that they've made is that they have introduced this year what they are calling AI overviews. So let me explain what that is. If you've been on the Google search engine results page recently, you've seen that they've added something new. So the normal thing you would always see if you went in there and typed in how much do dental implants cost, as an example, you would see the ads results on the top of the page. Then you would see the map pack results, and then you would see the organic listings at the bottom of the page. So what they've added up there, sometimes it's above the ads, sometimes it's right below the ads. Usually when I see it, it's right above. It's something they call AI overviews. And what that basically means is that Google is answering that person's question using AI as a generative source to go get the answer and put it right there on the top of the page. So why that's bad for us as dentists, as dental marketers? Well, it's because the new statistic came out this year that says that as of now, 65% of searches on Google end without a click being made. That means that 65% of the time that people go to Google and they ask a question, they're not actually clicking on any result on the page. They're getting that question answered right there in that AI overview, and they're moving on. That's bad for us because before this was introduced, what would happen is somebody would go ask, how much do dental implants cost? And they might see your ad as a dentist pop up to an article about how much dental implants cost. Then they might see your map pack result as the local implant authority dentist. And then they might see an organic result answering that question at the bottom of the page. And that's how we drove traffic to the website. We drive traffic for someone who's interested in dental implants to your website to read about dental implants and see that you're a dental implant dentist. You can do the math. Usually that ends pretty well for us. But now that we know that so many of those clicks are being absorbed up into this AI overview, it's been tanking traffic to dental websites. So what can we do? Well, ads still become very important. You know, Google's not ever getting rid of ads. It's 70% of their revenue as a company. So they're going to stick with those ads to the dying day, no matter how many AI overviews they put in place. And if they see that their ad revenue starts to seriously drop because of AI overviews, they're going to do something about it. So that's one thing. The second thing is when they do show an AI overview, they actually pull that information from websites and they show you those websites. Usually it's 2, sometimes 3 websites right to the right of there where they got the answer to that question. And the key is as a dental practice, you want to be the website that they pull that answer from. So today I'm going to give you 6 things that you can do. If you write your own blog content, these are 6 tips for you. If you work with an agency, you can pass it on to them for them to get you in those AI overviews because it is powerful. And I'll tell you, just the other day, we have a client in Sugar Hill, Georgia, and we went and did a search that was, who's the best dentist in Sugar Hill, Georgia? And our client's ad popped up at the top. And then in AI overview, there was a little segment that they put in there, how to find the best dentist in Sugar Hill, Georgia, the criteria, what you look for, all that. And the 2 websites they pulled that from were both our clients. There was 2 pages of our client's website that the answer was being pulled from right there for our client in Sugar Hill. Then you went down, our client was the number 1 listing on the map pack. You went down further, they're the number 1 listing on the organic results. So our client essentially had total omnipresence of this page. And what's good about that is that for those 45% of people that still do click on something, a result, our client's going to get that person. They're going to get that lead because they have dominance all over this page in every way. So the key is you want to be one of the websites where they pull that answer from. So that's what I'm going to focus on today is giving you 6 tips to make that happen. So let's jump right in there. This is all mostly around content. I'm not going to get into specifics around coding, schema, on-site SEO, all that technical stuff that we do. That's a whole other thing that's part of it. But really, I just want to focus on the content that's being developed for your website, because I do know that, over the years, I've been doing this for 14 years. We've had clients, dental clients, who do their own content. They like doing it. That's rare. I'd say 98% of the time they want us to do it. But we also know we have clients that are our clients that still pay other third parties to do blog content for them. And there's certain things we see about that blog content that we would do differently. And that's part of what I'm going to talk about today. So the first thing, there's something called EEAT. This is Google's thing. They call it EEAT, and it basically means expertise, experience, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. This is what they tell us that they are looking for to rank your content, meaning that they want it to score high in all four of those things: expertise, experience, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. What they want to see in there's different levers we pull to really show those things in your content. So it could be, we're showcasing your knowledge. Like, we like to put quotes from our dentist in their blog post to kind of show that they are providing that information. We like to actually pull in credible citations. We'll have citations in the ADA and other places that we pull in. And we also want to always have a big, strong author profile, where we really profile the dental client as being the author of all this information, because the dental client is ultimately the one that we want to get that authority from Google. So EEAT, think about those four things whenever you're putting together content for your business. This is the number one thing. It has to fall into what Google tells us they want to see, which is EEAT. The second thing is, you want to really focus on informative, comprehensive content. The reason I'm talking about informative is that, we tend to just write kind of marketing content for our websites. Oh, like, we're just selling our stuff. We're selling everything that's great about this dental practice. The reality is that we have to give other perspectives to get people, for Google to look at this and say, all right, this is valuable content. I'll give you an example. Let's say we write a content piece for a dental client where we talk about the cost of dental cleanings in your town. So we have to cover all the bases in that content. We can't just talk about, having insurance versus not having insurance, but we also give other options. We talk about dental schools where you can go and get free dental care. We talk about low-cost clinics and stuff like that, because we're showing Google, even though we know that, but it has two values. Like, we know that person who wants the dental school dentistry is not going to be a great patient for you. So if they can see that that's an option on your blog post and go somewhere else, that's fine. We don't feel like we've really lost a huge opportunity. But second, it just shows Google that we are giving the full picture. We're not just limiting it to what we want to talk about based on your business, but we're giving the full picture of everything that is an option for that person. And that's what they look at and say, all right, this is a valuable piece of content. You're not just selling yourself. You're giving all the information for someone to make a really educated decision. So that's the second thing, really focusing on the why and the how and not just the what. So digging into it, giving really comprehensive and informative answers to questions. Next is really to be really unique. Dare to be different. There's a really great book that we're huge fans of. It's called Endless Customers by Marcus Sheridan. I highly recommend you read it. It's a great book if you own a business, even if you're not into writing content and stuff like that. But it really just talks about challenging the type of content that you're putting out there, even if it feels uncomfortable. So I'll give you an example of something that's been a little uncomfortable that we've done for our clients. Is we will do an article that's like, hey, here's the top 5 dentists in your town. So our client's going to be one of them, and we're going to list 4 competitors on your website. That's a little uncomfortable for some people. But we do it in a way where we're showing why you are superior. And hey, they're reading it on your website. So we already got a win there. But that's the type of stuff that most people just won't do that. Most people would never, like, for example, if you're fee for service, you would never talk about in-network, but you have to. You have to talk about those things in your content for Google to look at it and say, all right, this is valuable content. This is the type of content that we're going to rank in our AI overview. So dare to be different, push those things, do comparison pieces. What's the difference between braces and Invisalign? But be honest. Talk about, if you're really trying to sell Invisalign, not braces, you still have to be honest about what the advantages of braces are over Invisalign. You have to be honest about what the downside of Invisalign potentially could be. If you're not being honest and being different about those things, you're not going to get ranked high. And Google's going to say, this isn't really useful or informative. It's just pandering and selling. So dare to be different, rank, add your competitors on there. There's so many different ways to push that. Definitely check out that book because it really changed our approach to really getting our clients ranked. The next one is answer the questions people are asking. And this is where you get a little more control. So we have tools that we pay for as an agency to give us what those questions are, but you could do it yourself. You can go to Google and type in dental implants, and Google's going to start showing you results. And below that, they're going to say what other people are asking about dental implants. And they're going to give you a list of questions that people have actually typed in to talk about dental implants. Now, I'll tell you, and this is going to go a little bit back to what we said about daring to be different, is the number one question is always going to be cost. People always want to know the cost of everything. That's the first thing people want to know. That's usually the number one question that's asked. And I know that a lot of our clients are very uncomfortable about talking about the cost of their procedures on the phone or on their website or anywhere else. But the more transparent we are, even if it's just giving price ranges, the more formative we're making it for people. And again, I know it's uncomfortable for people, but like, for example, we work with implant dentists where we absolutely put their pricing right there on the page, because I look at it as, if if you have aggressive, good pricing, we want to promote that if you're a little bit less than everybody else. But, if you're doing, acrylic all-on-4 dentures for $20,000, and somebody looks at that and says, like, I could never afford $20,000. Well, that's okay. That's not necessarily the call we want. Obviously, we're going to inform that person in that content about, the cost is this, but hey, also think about financing and other things you can do, Medicare, other ways you could pay for these things. But, it's not a bad thing to be transparent with your pricing. It's different. It's uncomfortable. But again, we have to dare to be different. So answer the questions that people are asking. Now, you'll also see questions that people are asking that we don't want to answer. If somebody's asking a question, can Medicaid pay for dental implants? Well, the answer is no. Honestly, I don't know that we want that to answer that question on your website, because there's always going to be some questions that we don't want to answer because there's no positive outcome for us to get that person to click to your website. But anyway, so think about that. That's an easy way to get those questions and really start to be different and answering what people are actually asking. That's the number one way you're going to get clicks to your website. The next thing is try to be multimedia oriented on these things. That could be as simple as one of the things we'll do sometimes is just take the text of our blog post, put it into an audio system, and have an audio voice attached to it. So we now have an audio recording of the blog post at the top of the page. So that's good for a couple of reasons. Is one, if someone looks at this and is like, I don't want to read this, I'll just listen to it. So boom, they hit the button, they listen to this. But the best thing is, let's say it takes a minute or two for that reading audio file to play. Google sees that and they say, wow, this piece is so good that people are hanging out for 2 to 5 minutes, reading the content or whatever they're doing to take in the content. So we know that it's hard to do this, but we also know that people don't necessarily just want to come and read a wall of text these days. So the more you can put multimedia, maybe you do a quick video of you kind of giving a quick summary of that blog post, the more you can do that, the more Google's going to like it. And then lastly, this is the big one. This is the one where I feel like people just really aren't doing it. And that is, you need to localize your content. So I've been saying this for years, because one of the things that we would see a lot is that if I was sitting in Atlanta, Georgia, and I typed in how much do dental implants cost, and this is before AI overviews, and I scroll down, and I get to those organic search results, and I see a dentist website who's answering that question as the number one spot. I click on that, boom. And I read this article on this dentist website and I say, okay, well, this is doable. I can get financing. I can make this work. Let me check out this dentist. Oh, wait a minute. This dentist is in California. That's no good for me. I'm not flying to California to go see this dentist. So that's something that's been there for a long time. But that's why we always try to localize blog content to your location. And that way, when I give you that example earlier about, how to find the best dentist in Sugar Hill, that's because we had all that content localized to Sugar Hill. So it was very much written for a smaller population of people, not the world, not the country, not the state, but this town. So we wrote like, when we write content about pricing, like how much do these things cost in your town versus how much these things cost? Because as we all know, the cost of dentistry in a big city could be very, very different than a small town. So that's the way we localize that content, which improves the chances that our clients are going to show up in those localized blog posts. The local AI summaries, because we've localized the content. And it's much more valuable if someone's looking for something in your town. That's a much higher conversion possibility than someone who's just looking for general information about how much does something cost here or there or wherever it is. So anyway, those are 6 tips that I think you could use. If you, like I said, either use them if you're writing your content or pass them on to your agency if someone's writing it for you. But those are 6 things you can do at a high level to start getting into those AI overviews so you can really start dominating your search results page. Hope this was helpful, and signing off. You guys have the great rest of your day.
Thank you for joining us for this Dental Flow podcast episode. If you enjoyed today's discussion and wish to stay updated on future episodes, please like, subscribe, and share the podcast with colleagues and friends. For more insights and discussions on dental marketing, we encourage you to continue riding the Dental Flow wave and tune into the next episode. Keep on smiling, learning, and flowing with the Dental Flow podcast.